My name is Sher Muhammad Sharifi, and I'm 36 years old. I'm originally from Afghanistan and Faria province of Afghanistan, which is located in northern Afghanistan.
Can you talk to me about your decision of becoming an interpreter?
Well, when I decided to be an interpreter for military services, military guys in Afghanistan, I felt that I'm patriotic. I love my country, and I show Afghan nation's hospitality for foreign military guys who came to bring peace to Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. So what made you continue in this line of work?
My first job was in military service with Norwegian Armed Forces. Then I got opportunity to work with American in capital Kabul with American Drug Enforcement Administration. So that was a golden opportunity for me. That job was from 8 to 4, but when I was serving with Norwegians, we were 24/7 with military guys in the same military compound. And when I got job opportunities in Kabul, after I passed the interviews, so they said from 8 to 4. And I thought, okay, besides working with Americans, I can fulfill my higher education in Kabul, and also I could learn about American culture, that I learned a little bit about European, Norwegian culture. So I was curious, let's learn a little bit more about American people and American culture.
So when did you work, and with whom directly did you work?
We have been working 24/7 with Norwegian military services. I started 2007 and 2008 with Norwegians. And then I was with Americans for a while, like an year. Then I got opportunity to work with Swedish Armed Forces in North Afghanistan. The reason why I wanted to move back to my homeland or my province. My mom was alone. I was only a child, no siblings at all. So I thought, okay, let's come back and to be close to my mom, because my mom used to miss me a lot, and she used to say, how long you'll be far from me? And I said, okay, let's learn more about the Scandinavian countries' culture. So I joined Swedish Armed Forces.
Mm-hmm. How was your relationship with the foreign army, and the relationship between the foreign army and the interpreters or Afghan workers?
Well, every Afghan who have been hired locally in Afghanistan as interpreter or as local workers or local employees, they have shown their loyalty, honesty, and devotion and Afghan hospitality for foreign forces and foreign nations.
Mm-hmm. Did you work like a pure interpreter, or did you have like negotiations between the Afghan people, like a culture bridge, or did you do like a mediator job?
To be honest, it depended on the situations. When a person is working as an interpreter, sometimes it's common to be impartial. You don't need to take parts, but when you see the situation as getting a little bit sensitive, then you have to use your mind, analyze both sides' emotions, and then you have to explain based on the cultures and based on that area or those people, how they are behaving. So it's not easy to be an interpreter. It's not just passing words from mouth to another mouth. No, you have to add some extra words. There shouldn't be any misunderstanding, misrespect between these two parties, between these two different nations, different cultures. So it was very sensitive job for any interpreter.
So what do you think about the risk versus the reward of being an interpreter?
To be honest, the risk is much more higher than rewards. The rewards we have received, that was our monthly salary on those days that we were working. And other best rewards, I could say we have been saved. Our children have been saved in peaceful countries like Norway, Sweden, Europe, or America, Canada, or Australia, UK. And I'm grateful those countries who take out their local employees as an interpreter or cleaners, guards, whatever, they have been working for them. And still there are a lot have been left behind. I hope they will be saved, and they will be also like us, living in a peaceful society. Why I say risk is much more higher than rewards? Because every time he used to leave the military compound, we had a kind of joking and telling to our local friends, other interpreters, see you in hell, because there is no guarantee that we will come back alive or we'll come back injured or disabled, lost their legs or hands or eyes, or nobody knows what would happen. There are a lot of interpreters. They have been disabled. They have lost their eyes, their legs or hands. So that's why the risk has been always much more than rewards. And the rewards that, thanks God, we have been saved. Our children are not experiencing what we have been experienced. So that's the biggest happiness, biggest reward I feel, that my children will never see the those that I have seen. So they should grow up in a peaceful society. They should be good doctors, engineers, lawyers, bankers, teachers. I hope so. And I'm always proud of my services. So I will never regret. We did our best, not only me, people who did good jobs for foreign forces as an interpreter or local workers. They did their best. They were dreaming or hoping that one day we would have a real peace in Afghanistan and our generation will be proud of our services. But we didn't know something could happen quickly, so fast, like in the last 15 days or 2-3 weeks happened. The Taliban took over all over the country very quickly. It is unimaginable.
I can see now that there's one city in Afghanistan that they're fighting back to, like, the Taliban can't take over the city. Do you know anything about that situation?
Yes, I'm fully following my Afghanistan situation on the news medias, even local medias. These international medias are not broadcasting the real pictures because nowadays everyone has got a telephone, internet. Mm-hmm. They show the real picture of the societies. That province is called Panjshir, which means 5 lions. And Russia couldn't capture that one. And Taliban on 20 years ago, they had controlled and captured all the country except that province. Still, they are attacking on that on that province. It's not only Taliban, and there are proofs that Pakistan, our neighborhood country, has sent their aircrafts to bomb that province. And that province is not, everybody is not armed. There are thousands of civilians. We are human rights. We are United Nations Security Council. We are other organizations. They are claiming about humanity, about freedom, about this, but they're just silent and keep watching. That province is under the bombing of Pakistan and Taliban. So there are human beings. That's a small province, Panjshir, full of nice valleys and very open-minded people, but these people are surrounded. They don't receive medicine, they don't receive food, they don't have electricity, even they don't have access to internet, all these networks to call and report. That's unfair. I hope the world will hear my voice and take action. These international organizations like Human Rights and United Nations Security Council and other organizations.
So is it the Pakistan army that's helping Taliban to defeat these people? Or?
Yes, Pakistan army, but in the Taliban appearance, Taliban uniforms. They don't have a special uniform. Taliban doesn't have a special uniforms, only black and white turbans and Afghan national clothes. When the Pakistan is supporting them, giving them, providing them very accurate location of the Panjshir people, where are the soldiers located, and they send these drones and they bomb them, and Special Force of Pakistan, only in Taliban uniforms with the turbans and long beards, and that's it. And they call our Talibans, but they're highly trained Special Force of Pakistan. They have been sent by helicopters on the high mountains to capture that valley. But I hope they will not capture that valley, because there are a lot of people, civilians. They will be killed and they will be tortured, and that's not fair.
I also understand about now Taliban is more powerful with all these weapons that were left behind, and it's not going to be easy for that province to keep up with that.
It would be a kind of impossible, but I hope the world will hear the Afghans' voice. Afghan people all over the world, they are showing demonstrations and they are making loud voice against Pakistan attack to Afghanistan. And Taliban will be not, I'm sure that Taliban will not be recognized as an official government of Afghanistan. It's impossible. But who is the oppressed people? Only the civilians. Only the civilians paying for all these tough time.
Yeah, we've seen women in Kabul demonstrating and being stopped by the Taliban.
It's not only by ladies and young generation, but they have been hit, they have been shot. You can see local videos. I hope BBC, Voice of America, Do Chile Alman, or other international medias could broadcast the real picture of the Taliban, how they behave in the society when somebody is asking about freedom of education, freedom of human beings, freedom of rights, freedom of religion, how they're behaving. It's not only hating, shooting, and capturing them and taking them in a hidden prisons. Nobody knows, are they going to come back alive or never seen on the societies? No, there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee. These Taliban political pictures or guys showing on the media just passing the lie message for the world. No, we will be very moderate Islamic country, blah, 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 like that. These are all lies.
Were you in danger in any way in Afghanistan when you were working? Or?
Oh yes, when being interpreter for military armed forces, there is no guarantee that you are going to be alive for the next hour, especially when a person leaves the military compound with the big convoys to a meeting for operation or patrols. So there is no guarantee that you will come back or a person will come back alive to camp, because there have been suicide bombers, there have been route bombs and attacks. So you never know what could happen.
Mm-hmm. So have you been in danger? Like, can you tell me about any stories where you have been close to danger or?
Yes, while we were serving in military, we have been witness for so many times ambushes, roadside bombs on operations. So besides all these, I have faced 2 times direct threats. My life was in the last steps of losing my life. I have been caught with the Taliban militants once when I was in a funeral ceremony in one of the villages of Faryab province in Anthoy district. So my mom's uncle's wife passed away. I went there when I was on the graveyard burying the dead body. Suddenly 2 motorcycles with each motorcycles had 2 riders and covered face, armed. They came and they noticed that because those who are living in the cities, when especially in a young age, so you look a little bit different from the villagers. They have turbans or beards, something like that. I was shaved and nicely cleaned, dressed, and they came and they wanted to take with them. And they said, you're the guy we have been looking, according to our intelligence report, that you are a spy, you are working for foreigners, and you're eligible for that. Let's go to our commander. We are posed, and they forced me. They hold my hand and they tied with their. They have a kind of shawl or cloth they had, and they tied my hand on the back, and they wanted to take me by force. But luckily, I got shocked. I had nothing to say. Only I said, I'm not working with the foreigners. I'm just carpenter, sailor in Kabul. I don't work with anyone. You can ask all these guys. But luckily, those village elders, my relatives, my uncle, they said, he is our guest. He came here to show his sympathy. And you are forcing to take him. It's not fear. We guarantee that he's just an ordinary man. He's not working with any foreign agencies or military services. We guarantee, please, we are here, he will be here. Don't destroy our ceremony. We have already been so sad to lose our family members, and you are making it worse, please. And these village elders, not only one, Several of them, they knew me, they knew my family. They start begging, like mediation. They guaranteed. They said, we can guarantee. If he's a bad guy, next day you can come with your commanders. You can take him. So that was the village elders mediations efforts that I got released. And they said, well, we believe in your words. These Taliban militants said, we believe in your words, but we will not let him be free if he is the one that we are looking after. And they left the scene because they were in a hurry. They were afraid maybe any military guys will show up or police patrols, something will show up. They were in a hurry and they left the area. And after that, from that funeral ceremony, graveyard, I left the area. I called a local taxi, and they came and they drove me out of that village and area. That was first time. And second time, while I was driving my car with my family, I had a 1-year-old daughter at the back of car, and my mom, my wife. We were going to village of my wife's relatives' village. We have been invited, and on the way, you know, Afghanistan roads looks like a desert, especially on the road between Shibargan city and Khojaduko. And suddenly I noticed 2 motorcycles chasing me, and they came close to me, and they stopped me, and they wanted to take me out of the car. They forced, I said, what's going on? No, come out with us, come out. They were hitting me with a gun but and they were forcing me, insulting me, and my family got shocked, crying, you know. Those things, it's easy to say, but it's difficult. It's impossible for others to imagine what could a person can feel on that time. Nobody wants to die in front of their family members, especially a young child. So they were forcing, and I said, no, we know you're the guy, you're working as a spy for foreigners. We know very well. Come out. They were forcing, and luckily, in a short time, from long distance, a car showed up, and they suspected that car could be a border police or a highway patrol police. And they got the panic, and they said, we will not let you alive. We will kill you. So they were in a hurry, and they couldn't get me out of the car. They left the spot, and they disappeared behind these sand desert places. And the car came. What happened? That was luckily that was a highway police. I said, I have no idea. Just 2 motorcycles, 4 guys wanted to take me out of the car, and they said, you are a spy. You are working at. And the highway police patrol escorted me. He said, where do you want to go? I said, my intention was to go to that village, but no, I gave up. I want to come back to my city. So they escorted me up to next checkpoint, and they informed that checkpoint he's in danger. We think they have been stopped by armed forces, and another checkpoint escorted me to the city. I came to the city the same day. I called my friends. I put my car on sale. I said I don't want to have that car because it is well known by the eyes of these Taliban militants. So these 2 threats have been directly on me. So I have seen that this in front of my eyes, not only on these military operations or military patrols, but when you're in civilian clothes, when you're with a family or among your family members, when you see such a threat is really close to you, and you have no hope except you say, I'm gonna die. And when you get out of these threats, then you feel that God loves you, and you feel I'm really lucky that I have been born once again. So these have been my experience, bad experience. I can never forget it.
Have you ever been shot?
Oh yes, I do remember these. While I was working and serving with the Swedish Armed Forces, Swedish Armed Forces had trainings like first aid help for Afghan National Police or Afghan National Armies, and for NDS, National Department of Security soldiers. And also they had a shooting range training, how to aim the target. So one day I was interpreting in front of the lines with a Swedish guy, and the soldiers were laying down, holding their guns, just listening what the Swedish armed guys are teaching them, how to concentrate on the target. But the target was standing behind me. Suddenly I heard a shot, bang! And I got shocked like that. I shook my hands. I noticed the target which was set behind me, that like a hard plastic targets. They was placed behind me, and one got down, and the Swedish soldier got panic, and they ran to that soldier and said, "Don't move, don't move." That was a really panic scene. And I said, "No, it's okay, it's okay." He was very afraid, that soldier. By mistake, he shot that. He lost his feelings, and he just pushed the trigger. And I noticed what happened. I said, "Okay, thanks God I'm alive." But I saw a hole on my jacket. Oh, the bullet just passed me. I said, I was so lucky. So it was always risky. It was always risky.
What about you were driving in armed cars? Did you have any incidents when you...
Yes, we have been several times, not only, I could say tens, not 10, more than 10 times we have been under ambushes. And I have lost my colleagues while these patrols operation on the roadside bomb. So it's not something we could say no, never, no, no. So many times we have been hated, we have been in ambush by Taliban. I do remember once we were in ambush. We had no idea how to get rid of that area because the bullets were coming from the high mountains, high hills, and we had no idea what's happening because everyone starts shouting. You know, these moments, everyone gets panic. And these soldiers and start shouting and calling on radio. And I was inside the car looking around. Let's find out which area, which side is shooting. The enemy is shooting on us. Then I was looking, and bang, the bullet hit my window glass. And luckily, all these armed army cars were anti-bullets, or we call it armors. So they were armors, and another thing, the bullets were hitting us from the long distance. They lost their heat and power, otherwise they can destroy even the windows. So these moments I could never forget. So on those days, I remember one of the Swedish soldiers got injured. The bullet hit the trunk of the car and came to his eyes, and that was too hot and bleeding, and come down, and they shout on the military Air Force support, and somehow we get out of that ambush area, and we could save our lives, and the helicopters and Air Force supported us, and that soldier was taken by helicopter. So such incidents we have been several times witnessed, because we have been 24/7 with these army guys, and always the same car, inside the same car, with our body armors, helmets, and we had a gun in case of need, Otherwise, we had in charge. The unit commander would say, "This soldier is in charge. If something happens, just follow this guy. As long as he's alive, he will support you. Otherwise, then you are on your own," which means you can use his gun if something happens to him. So we have been trained, we have been advised highly. That's why we were punctual. We were just listening to the military guys, what they have advised us, guide us, and given us any orders. We were really honest.
Did you get any military training at the base?
Yes, they used to have a change of command. In every 6 months, they used to change all the troops. The new troops comes, so we had greetings with them, and some of them provide us some trainings. Okay, we are expecting interpreters, local employees, blah, 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 like that. We said, yes, we have been under trainings. If you find out it's necessary, once again, we are ready to follow any trainings. Yes, I do remember we have been training the police forces while I was in Norwegian Armed Forces. I do have pictures from them, so how to hit the targets. So we had opportunities to use that training and to learn something based on shootings also, yes.
Did you make friends at the military base? Do you have contact with any of them?
Yes, still I have a good friends. I'm in contact. Some of them are living in Norway. I have a good contact. I highly appreciate their feelings, friendship, and efforts on saving my lives and recommending us to come to Norway. And I have friends from Swedish Armed Forces from high positions. Still they are in contact. and I'm really proud of them. I do respect them. They still, a week ago almost, one of Swedish soldier, she has been in Afghanistan. She just sent me a message, and she was concerned regarding my country and my parents. That was very kind of her. With a big pride, I highly appreciate such a feelings always.
Do you want to tell me about your colleagues that died and how they died?
Yes, in these last 20 years that NATO and the world have been in Afghanistan, every nation has lost their soldiers. They are human beings in our country. So the Afghans also lost. I do remember I lost 3 of my colleagues. 2 were from Swedish Armed Forces, and that time Swedish Army also lost, I think, a couple of soldiers and 1 Afghan interpreter. That was a kind of ambush. The Taliban militant have been among the police with the police uniform. When Swedish soldier was getting close to that checkpoint to have a meeting with the checkpoint commander or chief, and the interpreter was helping, and they get close to that checkpoint. That checkpoint was located in the highway. So suddenly that soldier, they were well trained. I mean, these Taliban militants, they showed themselves as a patriot, and they joined the police, and they served, and they were looking after opportunities, how to harm, how to kill the foreign forces and interpreters or their own colleagues. It's a kind of common. Those soldiers, I mean Taliban militants, they joined the army or police. They serve in army or police for a couple of months, 6 months, then they kill all their colleagues and get their ammunition and disappear. They go back to their Taliban militants' compounds with all ammunitions. And on that time, my colleague, he was really young boy. It was very sad. He was very young boy, and nice guy. He went close to that checkpoint, and that Taliban militant who were in police uniform start shooting with the machine gun, with the machine gun, PKM. A machine gun, they shot, and 2, if I'm not wrong, 2 Swedish soldiers passed away, and 1 Afghan interpreter lost his life also, and some other got injured, and that was also shot down by Swedish Armed Forces, that guy. And another who lost his life, also he was my colleague while we were working and serving in Swedish Armed Forces. That was an operation in one of the risky districts, and inside the village, that was a roadside bomb attack. And when the explosion happened, the car fell over, and those cars, military cars, are very heavy, and I think on that time one of the soldiers passed away, and also interpreter passed away. And one of my colleagues, while I was working with Drug Enforcement Administration of United States in Kabul, so he used to visit his family in another province. So he was on the way, and he was stopped on the way and got out of the car and shot immediately on the spot. Because the Taliban are putting checkpoints on the highway on those days. So they have intelligence reports. They don't need to check your pockets if you have ID or not. Maybe they have got the pictures of local employees for the foreign nations, foreign military guys. So they get out of the car, and without asking, without anything, they shot them, they tortured them, and they left the dead body. So I have already shared those pictures with you.
Now recently, Taliban has taken over your country. What do you think about the interpreters who are left behind, the people who work with foreign military who are left behind? What do you think about their fate and the situation?
To be honest, it's a big catastrophe for a big nation, for a country, that the world has been working for the last 20 years to bring real peace on that society, to bring good, real peace for the nation. But unfortunately, it was unexpected for everyone in the world inside Afghanistan that could happen so quickly. So it's very dangerous for everyone, especially for those who have been working as interpreter or as a local employees for military camps or foreign NGOs, non-governmental organizations, or another. In Afghanistan, there have been so many different organizations based on civilians or military projects, so many. So many have been working, but their life is in danger. And those who are left behind, they are just breathing with a big panic. They have no hope that they will survive the next day. They're just expecting somebody will knock the door and will come in, and they'll be found out. Those who have families like me, they have already been saved, taken out from Afghanistan to Europe or to America or another countries. They're left behind or in danger. And my father got a phone call, and they're asking about me. Otherwise, my father should provide them $100,000 as a compensation or ransom money for my services for military armies, for foreign military armies. So my father left the house, changed the phone number, and living with my relatives somewhere hiddenly. Like my father, most of those who have been working with the foreign NGOs or military services organizations, they are just hiddenly living now. They have no hope. That's not fear that they have been left behind. They are human beings, and they are talented guys, and they have shown their devotion, they have shown their honesty, punctuality, and loyalty for foreign forces, foreign nations. Please, I beg and ask, these countries who left behind their local employees or family members, please take them out of that hell. Now Afghanistan is not a country. It's just like a hell, because no one will hear the voice of freedom, the voice of human rights, the voice of human children rights.
You saw all the ammunitions and the vehicles, the planes, the helicopters that are left behind for the Taliban, which will make Taliban very powerful. What do you have any hope for peace in your country now?
It's obvious they have become much more powerful than the 25 years ago. They didn't have so much ammunition and so highly developed, high technology weapons. Nowadays they have. There is no hope. There is no hope. Those who are living, they don't have life in Afghanistan. They are just surviving because there is no respect for humanity. You cannot change your religion. You cannot bring your voice of freedom, or you cannot have your own rights based on education. There is no freedom of religion. There is no freedom of media. There is no freedom of human being or human rights. So what will happen? I'm sure 45%, maybe 50% of Afghanistan is ladies, girls. What will happen on their future if they are going to run 25 years ago rules and regulations? I mean, Taliban. Mm-hmm. So they have misinterpreted the religion of Islam. I'm sure there is no religion which allows killing people, torturing people, hitting people, keeping them like slaves. There is no religion at all.
Do you have any hopes of going back to Afghanistan later on? Or?
Ever, never. Since any government is run by Taliban. Yes, if there is a well-democratic society in my country, of course, I will come back. I will take my children. I will show them their homelands. And I will bring what I learned from Europe. I am sure those who have been in America, Europe, or another countries, highly developed societies, welfare societies, they're learning much more things, and they're learning much more about the real meaning of peace. When we come back to our country, we'll take part to rebuild that country and to have our position in the society and to bring what we have learned from Europe and America and other welfare societies. These are our hopes. We have been out of our country. It's not easy for any Afghans because we call our homelands the second mother. We have left our bio mothers and also our homelands. We are suffering here, but we are doing our best to build up our future in European countries, in Norway, in America, and to show our abilities that we could be a part of this society. And we are also manpower. We could be used. We are always looking after opportunity to take part in the society, to show our abilities, that we could do something for this society. And we are here to learn much more things.
So what's your personal dreams for the future?
Well, if I get a chance after graduation from university, now I'm a student at the University of Stavanger. So I'm studying sociology, and when I'm done, so if I get a chance to work with any Norwegian international organizations like Norwegian Refugee Council or Doctors Without Border, or there are many more. So I'm looking after opportunities to serve humanity, to serve the societies, no matter in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, wherever. They deploy me, they dispatch me, I am ready to go and take part on behalf of Norwegian government.
Thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome.